Hi everyone, welcome back to the channel. My name is Jackson, aka Nothing Speaks to Me, and today we're going to be reviewing and comparing George R.R. Martin's new TV series, A Night of the Seven Kingdoms. Spoiler alert, if you have not watched this TV series or read the book and you wish to do so, I suggest you go ahead and do that, watch it, read it, and then come back afterwards. Okay, A Night of the Seven Kingdoms is going to take place 100 years after the events of A Game of Thrones. So this is after A House of Dragons and before Game of Thrones. With that being said, the Targaryens are still around, and in fact one plays a very big role in this story.
Say what you will about the Targaryens, they were conquerors.
So our main protagonist in this story is Sir Duncan the Tall, or Dunk. If you have watched Game of Thrones, you might have heard King Joffrey talk about Sir Duncan the Tall, or even Jaime Lannister.
Sir Duncan the Tall. 4 pages for Sir Duncan. Must have been quite a man.
So they say.
Our story is going to kick off with Dunk, or Sir Duncan the Tall, burying his teacher, Sir Alan of Pennytree. After Dunk buries Sir Arlen, he decides to go on to Ashwood Meadows, where there's a tourney being held. Sir Arlen was going to fight in this tourney, but since he's passed away, Dunk decides he will fight instead.
I volunteer! I volunteer! I volunteer as tribute!
On Dunk's way to Ashwood Meadows, he stops at an inn to get some food and some drink.
Cheers, boys. Cheers.
Once Dunk arrives at this inn, he goes straight to the stable, and that's where he meets this really young, frail-looking boy. He asks the boy if he's the stable boy, and the boy replies, "I could if I wanted to be."
What, they ever tell you look like Beyonce?
Nah, they usually tell me I look like Shalissa.
Who the fuck is that?
Me, nigga.
Dunk then says to give all 3 of his horses some oats, and he tells the boy that if he does his bidding, he'll get a copper piece whenever he returns, and if he doesn't, he'll get a clout on the ear. As Dunk makes his way inside of the inn, he spots some young lordling passed out drunk on the table. He speaks to the innkeeper and he actually orders some food and some drink.
Medium.
A medium, please.
And then can you add 2 back shots?
Can you add 2 back shots with that?
That's actually whenever the lordling wakes up, looks at Dunk and says, "I've dreamt of you. You stay away from me, well away."
I know who you are.
This really confused Dunk, but the innkeeper said just take no notice of him.
What?
What does that say, Anaya?
What?
And then the lordling pays the innkeeper with a dragon piece and goes off. After Dunk finishes his food and drink, he goes back to the stables to retrieve his horses. As Dunk enters the stable, he notices that the boy is wearing his armor and helm and is on top of Thunder, his warhorse.
Oh.
Hi.
This was just sitting there.
Dunk pulls the boy off of Thunder and goes on to threaten him and berate him. He tells the boy to give him some oats for the road and he'll be on his way. That's whenever the boy actually starts to beg Dunk to take him with him.
Please, 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 please.
Dunk had actually thought that this boy was the innkeeper's son, so he asked him, "What of your mother?" And then the little boy replies, "I have no mother." So then Dunk goes on to think that this is a little orphan boy.
I'm an orphan.
Alright.
Dunk tells him he'll have a better life if he stays with the innkeeper because Dunk will have no money for them to eat, nowhere for them to stay, and it'll be a rough life. So it's best for him if he stays working at this inn as a stable boy. Dunk then tosses the boy a copper piece as it lands at his feet, and Dunk goes on his way. Once Dunk arrives in Ashwood Meadows, he actually goes to enter the list and be put into the tourney. However, he encounters a problem. No one knows of Sir Arlen from Pennytree, so therefore they don't know if Dunk is an actual knight.
Hold on, cuz.
The man in charge of putting everyone's name on the list for the tourney tells Dunk if he can find someone that could vouch for the fact that Sir Arlen of Pennytree actually existed, then he can be entered on the list. That's actually whenever Dunk remembers that Sir Arlen said that he served with a man named Sir Manfred.
Come on, think.
On his quest to find Sir Manfred now, he gets sidetracked. There's a guy that offers to fight him. He gets sidetracked by the puppeteer. And then he also gets taken to a tent for a feast. This tent actually belongs to Sir Lionel Baratheon. After Dunk partakes in the feast, Sir Lionel actually summons him to speak to him. He asks him why is he in his tent because he's not one of his men. Dunk says that he's there for the food, and then they go on to get drunk and dance and eat the night away. There's this moment where Dunk and Sir Lionel are bonding. Dunk is wearing Sir Lionel's helm, and Sir Lionel actually tells him that he needs to embrace his height.
So I have no chance.
The next day is actually whenever Dunk finally finds Sir Manfred. He goes up to him and asks him if he remembers Sir Arlen of Pennytree. Manfred dismisses him, says he doesn't remember him at all, he has no idea who he's talking about, and to be gone.
I don't know you!
Dunk, having felt defeated and unsure of what to do next, decides just to go back to his camp that he made outside of Ashwood Meadows. As Dunk nears his camp, he actually notices that that little bald orphan boy followed him and has made a fire and is sitting in his camp.
It's you! It's you!
Yeah. Well, yes.
They talk for a little while. Dunk says he needs to go back to the inn. The boy says he doesn't want to. And that's actually whenever we get to find out that this boy is from King's Landing. Dunk just assumes that this boy is from Flea Bottom and doesn't pry.
Never heard of him.
Do you know every knight in the Seven Kingdoms then?
The good ones.
Dunk decides that this boy can squire for him, but only for this tournament. The boy asks what's Dunk's name, and Dunk says Sir Duncan, but he can't think of a surname, so the boy dubs him Sir Duncan the Tall. Then we get a scene of Sir Duncan the Tall and Egg just laying on the ground, staring up at the stars, and they see a shooting star. That's whenever they decide that they're the only lucky ones here at this tournament because they're the only ones that can see this shooting star.
Falling star brings luck to those who see it.
And that's actually where episode 1 ends.
Wow.
So episode 2 kicks off with Dunk going around the camp trying to find anyone that remembers Sir Arlen of Pennytree. Of course, no one remembers the Sir Arlen of Pennytree at all, and even Egg says that he feels belittled going around begging all these knights to remember.
Rob me, and I'll hunt you down with dogs.
You don't have dogs!
I'll get some.
Where?
That's actually whenever the Targaryens arrive to Ashwood Meadows. The Targaryens came to Ashwood Meadows to enter the list as well.
Boys, something gay.
And that's actually whenever Egg decides that he needs to go back to the camp to make sure no one's messed with it. Dunk says that's a great idea and bids him to take the horses as well. There's a scene where a horse kicks someone and Dunk takes it into the stables to quiet it down and calm it. While inside of the stable, a Targaryen actually comes up to him and tells him to take his horse and care for it. Dunk says he's not a stable boy, so then the Targaryen tells him to go get him some ale then, but then Dunk also says he's not a serving boy. And then the guy just looks at him, and Sir Duncan says, "I'm a knight." The Targaryen then says, "Knighthood has fallen on sad days." After the Targaryen leaves, there are 2 Kingsguard that come into the stable. Dunk is lucky and actually gets to share a few words with these 2 knights. Dunk then asks one of the knights how did he become a Kingsguard. The knight says his name is Sir Donald and he's the son of a crabber. He says that he had to climb his way up to be part of the Kingsguard, and this actually inspires Dunk. So Dunk then continues his search of someone that remembers Sir Arlen of Pennytree. During Dunk's search, that's actually whenever he stumbles into a room where a group of people are having very important conversation. 2 of the people in this room are actually Baelor and Maekar Targaryen. At first, Dunk is accused of spying on them, so then Dunk goes on to tell them of his quest to find anybody that remembers Sir Arlen of Pennytree. Dunk actually asks Baelor Targaryen if he remembers Sir Arlen. Baelor actually says yes, he does remember Sir Arlen of Pennytree, that he actually rode against him during a joust. With this all being settled, they allow Dunk to enter the list, but in order for him to enter the list, he has to have his own arms, his own armor, and his own shield. Dunk stumbles across the puppeteer and asks her to paint him a new sigil over the shield.
No, I'm just a hedge knight, but sometimes I think there could be more.
Dunk then goes to sell one of his 3 horses to pay for his new armor. Dunk actually goes on to say that he is Sir Arlen's legacy, and on the morrow he will prove how amazing Sir Arlen was and he will win the tournament.
My legacy is you.
And episode 2 ends right before the tournament starts.
Wow, Bethany. Okay. Wow, are you kidding me, Bethany?
For this TV show, George R.R. Martin is actually a producer and a director. With that being said, the show doesn't stray too far away from the books. However, there are a couple key differences between the book and the TV show. For starters, one of the key differences is Sir Duncan the Tall actually gave himself the name. In the book, he dubs himself Sir Duncan the Tall. However, in the TV show, he lets Egg say that he is Sir Duncan the Tall.
That's not my name.
However, one of the biggest differences between the TV show and the book is the entire scenes with Lionel Baratheon. While Lionel Baratheon does exist in the book, there are no scenes of Dunk getting to know him, partying with him, eating with him, drinking with him. That's only in the TV show.
Of all of the things in the world that have never happened, that has never happened the most. That is the most didn't happen shit of all time. What a bunch of baloney.
Another difference is Egg is at the camp when the Targaryens arrive, so there's no scene of Egg getting scared that the Targaryens are there and going back to the camp.
Another one. Another one. Another one.
Another difference is whenever Duncan goes into the room where Baelor and Maekar Targaryen is, Baelor actually remembers Sir Arlen of Pennytree without Dunk's prompt. Another difference between the book and the TV show is in the book, Duncan never talks with Sir Donald. That never takes place in the book, it's only in the TV show. And then one of the last differences is in the TV show, Baelor Targaryen has to tell Duncan that he needs to purchase new armor, new sword, and a new sigil. However, in the book, Duncan has already started to do those things prior to meeting Baelor. And in the book, Dunk actually sells his horse as soon as he gets to Ashwood Meadows after trying to enter the list because he knows that he has to pay for these things. But in the TV show, that's one of the last things he does. So with that being said, the book and the TV show are very much alike. For these first 2 episodes of A Knight of the Seven Kingdoms, I rate them a 9 out of 10. The directing and casting, of course, are amazing. I only took off 1 point and gave it a 9 out of 10 just because in the TV show they have to embellish things and add things in to spread out the runtime. But with my opinions out of the way, I'm really looking forward to the rest of this season and I can't wait to go over it with you guys.
Thank God.
I want to thank you all so much for making it this far through the video. Again, my name was Jaxon, aka Nothing Speaks to Me, and I'll catch y'all on the next one. Oh, you fighting me? You fighting me?